parade of morons.
So many morons in our leadership. So little time to mock them all.
Ted Cruz went to Cancun while millions of Texans were without power and water.
Look, folks, I know I'm going to hear a lot of little actuallys in the mentions for even bringing this up. I don't give a shit that Ted Cruz went to Cancun. That's not the point. It's not your choices I judge. It's always the hypocrisy. And this is a leader who has called out other leaders for golfing and taking vacations in the middle of anything major or some kind of crisis going on in their state or their country. So you live by that sword, you die by that sword, Ted Cruz. And on top of all of this, he then manages to lie about it and throw his daughters under the bus in justifying this little jaunt down to Cancun.
Yesterday, my daughters asked if they could take a trip. Heidi and I agreed, so I flew down with them last night.
It's just unbelievable to me how the people who are pundits, mostly, around in this ecosystem, and the people like these leaders, in this case Ted Cruz, who are like, oh, I didn't do anything, and then they're all defending him, which is disgusting. Same with Cuomo, people defending him, just tripping over themselves, when if it was somebody from the opposite team, you would obviously be taking them to task, holding them accountable, and calling them out for their stupid decision with horrible fucking optics in the middle of a crisis. I don't know why this is hard.
It's just so stupid to me because it's like, this is a career politician. How do you not understand? He's so selfish that he wanted to go to Cancun badly enough. He didn't understand how bad it would look for him.
Or you don't care.
So you either take a private jet.
Or take a private jet. Yeah.
Think of the optics and just be like,
I don't need
But he still would have been called out for being in Cancun.
But take a private jet. I agree with that.
Don't go to Cancun in the middle of a crisis. This is like politics 101. I'm offended by his stupidity.
That's the thing, though. You're either stupid, you don't care, or you're both. Which generally, it's both. And I feel that way about most of the pundits and most everyone. It's shamelessness. Mm-hmm. So you actually don't give a shit. Or you live in such a bubble that everyone around you is just like, no one's telling you this might not look good. Like, optics is everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's just a lack of not caring. And then people are like, well, what is he supposed to do? He couldn't have, like, been out there fixing the grid. No, don't do anything. Don't go to fucking Cancun.
Right.
Or do what, like, AOC, who I'm a huge critic of, raised $5 million for the people in need. Beto was on a phone calling olds, making sure that they were alive.
Right.
Find something to do.
Make a speech. In front of a disaster area. This is what politicians do.
Even Trump threw paper towels.
Go shake some hands for some people who bring some water to someone.
Throw some fucking water bottles at the people in need. I don't care.
Don't go to Cancun.
And the argument to that is like, well, I like my politicians who aren't lying to me. I'm like, that is not better. You're basically making the argument that these people are useless. That's not a better argument. It's ridiculous.
Be a leader.
Be a leader.
That's what you're hired to do, not jaunt off to Cancun in the middle of a disaster.
The people defending them were just equally enshrouded in their own bubbles as well, too. I was like, wow, this is all just like people who don't have any concept of what it's like to be on the end of one of these disasters and then see your local representatives flying. It's like, I think Iowa Hawk said it best. He's like, do I expect my leaders to be miserable and cold and suffering if I am? Yes, as a matter of fact, I do. And then Ted Cruz made a fucking joke about it at CPAC.
Orlando is awesome. It's not as nice as Cancun.
Children literally froze to death.
Yeah.
And olds.
And
olds. I just fucking hate everybody, honestly. I want out of this space. I want out. Mark my words right now. I'm not long for this space because I fucking think everybody in it is a sociopath and a deranged lunatic who has no credibility, no leadership, and doesn't actually give a shit about any of the things that they purport to give a shit about. No principles, no consistency, and no sense of what is right or wrong. I fucking hate everybody. Not you, watchers, viewers.